Hello and welcome to the SuperShow podcast, a gaming podcast about games and other such things with trash opinions and hot takes. And joining me today, Alex Jones and Jamie MC.
Hello, Chris. Hello, Jamie.
Well, we didn't do that thing before we started where we said which one of you was going to speak first.
And it all went horribly wrong.
That's the great thing about coronavirus, is it means we get to speak over each other at the beginning of every podcast until we find our rhythm.
But at least everyone else in the world is also having the same problem because they can only talk to each other through video conferencing now.
It's actually been like weirdly pleasant to watch every other podcast and video in the world migrate over to Discord or Zoom, and all of a sudden we don't feel like weirdos for doing it this way.
No.
Yeah, fair enough.
Suddenly you know that the board of directors at Zoom really wished they'd charged $1 for that.
Yeah, can I just say, like, I hope we haven't talked about this on the podcast before, but what the fuck is Zoom, and why is every motherfucker in the world using it now?
We did talk about it. We said basically it's a Discord for your mom and dad.
Like, but where did it come from? Why did everyone unanimously decide to use Zoom in the face of the apocalypse?
And Jamie, not only where did it come from, where did it go?
I think I know how it happened, you know. I think that out of every friend
no one's picking up my joke. All right, fine, moving on.
All right,
Sorry,
Cotton Eye Joe. Yeah,
there we go.
Fine.
Anyway, moving on. No, I think...
Moving on. All right, well...
I think what it was... Hold on. I go back to the Zoom thing. One friend in every group, because I think I know why, has used it through their business. And so then all their mates go, how are we going to do this? And they go, don't worry, lads, I've got Zoom. And then they all jump on it.
I thought old people used Skype.
Yeah, me too. I don't know. I don't know why they transitioned, but
yeah.
Is Skype one person only? Is it like 1-to-1? Can you do conference?
Maybe
calls?
yeah. Maybe you
do
can't
conferences.
I don't know. Yeah, behind the times clearly.
Oh God! All right,
We'll stick to Discord though.
What are you doing, Chris? Have you had a hot panic or something over there?
No, I'm just trying to resize some windows so I know what I'm talking about, but it's just gone a bit screwed.
I love that you're such a stickler for starting this podcast in the most professional way possible, and that you've got off the rails immediately.
Tell me about it. Anyway, guys, you know what? This is a podcast that's supported by our patrons, and we need them now more than ever because we're going to keep doing what we're doing, but it helps the burn, it helps the sting with our patrons. All right, they are the preparation H to our monetary arseholes.
Wow,
what is a prep? What did you say?
It's an arse cream, isn't it?
Arse
for
cream.
hemorrhoids.
Yeah.
Hemorrhoids?
Have you never seen what's the?
I'm not 60. I'm not 60 years old like you two. I don't know what hemorrhoids are yet.
Hey, it was in Austin Powers, and you love Austin Powers. So don't play the fool now, all right?
Was it the first?
Anyway,
maybe it's
patrons, all right? They give us some money. We can continue to make content, and we have some names in particular that we want to thank for today's podcast. And I'm talking about Brett Zerbrick, Hacksaw Book Reed, Mindful Pig, Peaswad, Tristan Harris, and William Sherry. And of course, the guys that are really making it possible is Skylar Music and Lonnie Thompson.
The big dogs.
Boys. Yes.
Kings and queens, all of them.
I think it's all kings there, my man.
Oh, is it? I didn't want to. I just can't.
I don't know what they identify as, but there you go.
Exactly.
I was just going to.
If you would like to support our podcast, do check out our Patreon. We've got a number of tiers with a number of benefits that you can check out, including some behind-the-scenes videos, some extra podcasts only available to our patrons, and you can join us on our Discord server and just talk shit about like how bored we are during the lockdown, as it were. And that is patreon.com/SuperShow. All right, guys. So look, a little bit of a change around, okay? Something new that I want to implement into our podcasts going forward is comment of the week.
Oh, I like it.
Yeah, because we had a really good comment come up in our last podcast, and I think I really liked it, and I thought I'd share it with you guys. All right, you ready for this?
Let's do it.
Let's do it.
Yeah. Okay, so this is coming in from Captain Wesker 12, so clearly a Resident Evil fan who was 12 years old.
Yeah.
Says, man, some of your guys' opinions are shit. And shit is in a capital S-H-I-T. Love you guys, but Animal Crossing is amazing. Your argument about digging holes and populating the museum, you could say the same thing about Doom. All you're doing is shooting people in the head. Sure, okay. Fine. And then he goes on to say, Chris, your opinions are usually dog shit. Need for Speed Heat is good because of the cops, the intensity of having a high rep and it being one of the And it being on the line because of the cops makes it amazing, not hinders it. That is his comment. And that is the comment of the week.
I wonder if Captain Wesker likes Animal Crossing so much because he's 12. So
wow.
I'm just putting it out there.
It's possible.
I mean,
let's unpack this a bit, okay? So first of all, if you look at our channel, on our banner, it says, like games, movies, hot takes, and trash opinions. No one said that our opinions are not trash.
He went hard, but he said they were capital SHIT. So
capital SHIT.
Capital SHIT.
I do kind of admire this guy's enthusiasm, though. Like, to write a comment that long and that detailed, and to remember your opinions on a game that came out 6 months ago, Chris. Like, this is a guy
Speed Heat,
that's committed to the grind, and I respect that. I'm a fan of Captain Wesker 12.
Yeah, well, that's why I thought, comment of the week, we salute you, Captain Wesker 12, because, your comments are valid.
And it's a great take.
So are mine. Need for Speedy Heat is trash because of the cops. But, no, hold on. I will say this. It's not trash because of the cops. It's trash because of the way some of it is implemented. Like being on that tiny little fucking island on the northeast corner where you can't get away from the cops and you just can't win those matches, those races. So,
you just got to get good, Chris, and then you'll be fine.
Yeah,
clearly,
I have memories of completing that game, but I'll keep my lips sealed.
Right.
And anyway, surprise, I'm halfway through, so there you go. Which actually moves us nicely onto something that we need to talk about.
Well, yeah, but before we get to that, Jonesy, I do want to tell anyone who's listening or watching on YouTube or a podcast platform of their choice, to maybe go check out the other platforms. So if you're on YouTube, maybe take a listen on Spotify. Or if you're listening on iTunes, maybe go check out our YouTube content as well.
If you've heard it once, listen to it again on another platform.
Why not, right? Well, what else are you going to fucking do? You're stuck at home.
Give us
Come on.
your support.
But I want you guys to vote for your comment of the week. So maybe think of it this way. Once you watch the video for the 5th time, go into the comments, read all the various comments there and say, hey, you know what? This guy's got a good idea. And just leave a comment underneath his comment saying, this has got to be the comment of the week. Don't vote for yourself because that's not fair. And then we'll it's a little experiment. We'll see how it goes. All right. But yes, moving swiftly on, Jonesy, we had a bit of an agenda last week, didn't we?
Oh, here we go.
Do you want to lead into it?
I think it had been 2 weeks since I'd said I was going to finish either BioShock or Shadow of the Colossus, and I still hadn't. And so you guys said that I would get a punishment or a forfeit, if you will, if I still haven't finished either of those 2 games. Anything. And I believe it was anything, right?
Anything. It was anything. We gave you the benefit of the doubt, but we were never going to diminish. We were never going to scrap the punishment altogether. We're just going to diminish it. So the question is, have you finished any games since we last recorded a podcast?
Yep.
You have?
Yep.
Oh, wait. Can I sneak in here? This is going to be a cop-out. Jonesy's going to have downloaded some fucking 1-minute app and finished that, and that's going to be his claim to fame. Watch this space.
It's legit, right? I finished a game of Connect 4 with my 3-year-old. I finished...
No.
No, God, what have I finished? I finished Shadow of the Colossus. I finished...
Did you read?
Did you?
I finished Breath of the Wild. I finished...
This is bollocks. He's lying now.
I finished BioShock 1 and 2. I've also finished...
such a bullshit.
Need for Speed Heat.
All right, Jonesy, what happened at the end of Shadow of the Colossus?
I don't know because I haven't finished it.
Okay, what happened at the end of BioShock?
I haven't finished any of these. I'm lying.
Listen, would you kindly just fucking stop fucking around and play these games?
I played some more Shadow of the Colossus. I'd tell you what I did do. I did play some Doom, which is why...
sorry, just to interject there. Honest to God, I thought you said Shadow of Mordor. And I was just thinking...
Shadow of Mordor? No.
Back to Shadow of Mordor. It's the most Jonesy thing to do.
I'd believe anything. I'd believe anything
I played a bit of Doom, but I haven't actually really played much because... I did a lot of editing and a lot of looking after kids again, so I didn't get to play too much. So no,
it's just going to get harder, Jonesy. Lots of good games are coming out. You got to just you just got to take that hit. Okay, but listen, I had asked people to leave comments on what they think the punishment should be for you, and a lot of them included playing games. Actually,
see, I can get on board with these. Jamie can keep his dog food bloody eating.
Hey, someone's going to eat dog food at some point.
You
That's
just
what I'm
want to
saying.
just eat dog food if you.
I don't want to eat dog food. Okay, these are desperate times, but we haven't quite got to the desperate measures.
All right. Well, anyway, so
Do you know what? I'm with Jamie. If he started eating dog food, I'd be like, well, why do you have dog food? You don't have a dog.
I don't want to leave the house. I'm saving lives.
One of our Discorders said that you should have a spoonful of mayonnaise, and I was like, what?
Is that a little like in joke talking about Steph Murphy?
Oh,
A spoonful
there's
of
another
Steph
layer
Murphy.
to it now. Yeah, you gotta chug some of Steph Murphy's.
Well, no, I wasn't going that far.
Come on.
Jesus Christ!
I think it's more because
finish the sentence. You don't know what I was going to
I
say.
knew exactly what you were going to say.
Isn't it generally speaking because eating a spoonful of mayonnaise would be an unpleasant experience for most people?
Yeah, but I mean, I've seen how Jonesy eats his burgers and like fried chicken and shit.
He's
And
not
there's like
could you put it on
so much that
spoonfuls of-
mayonnaise on there.
No,
he just
he
absolutely
doesn't. He does
upends the whole
like it,
fucking
but-
thing.
Could
I
you
don't
put
know.
like the spoonful of mayonnaise onto the chips and then just
No.
All right.
That's like
think
saying, can I mix this dog food into 3 pounds of ground beef and make burgers out of it? Which sounds delicious, by the way.
Doesn't sound bad.
All right, well, look, okay, so you've got a couple of options here, Jonesy. I'm going to let you choose, okay? So you need to play a worst rated game. So I guess that would be like Big Rigs or, what's it, Raven's Cry, something like that.
Okay.
But
The Last
not just play
Unicorn.
it, like, yeah, The Last Unicorn. But not just play it, like you got to provide proof for this channel, all right?
Right.
Okay. Or play Animal Crossing so that we know if it is more than just digging up fossils.
Right.
I'm kind of down for that one, yeah.
Alternatively, you can play Dota, but you have to give it a decent shot.
So
In
at
other
least
words,
10
I will
minutes.
know if you're fucking around or not.
Even if I played it for 10 hours, I'm still not going to, it's still going to be pretty obvious that I have no idea what I'm doing.
No, but I think if you could tell if you're taking it seriously or not. Like, you don't have to be good at it.
Oh, I see what you mean. Okay.
Alternatively, delete the save file for one of your unfinished games. I'm a big fan of this one.
That's
I've
I'm
got,
a big fan of this one.
I've got to be honest.
Because this is a proper punishment, right? It's like, hey, you didn't fucking finish the game, so now you're never going to be able to finish the game.
That would depend on the game. Like, if I had to delete the save data for like Run to the Sun, like I could get over it. But if it was something like,
I think based on the nature of the challenge and where it evolved from, I think it's got to be Shadow of the Colossus or BioShock. You've got to delete your save data.
What?
Yeah,
I think so.
I agree.
I think that's your punishment for not finishing it.
Oh, and then I have to do it all again.
If you want, or you just don't do it at all.
No, but then that's it. Then I can't finish it. Like, do you know
well,
what I mean?
this is your
but you're
forfeit,
not going to
Jonesy.
finish it anyway, you dillhole.
I am going to finish it.
I don't
I
think
am going to finish it.
No.
Oh, I'd rather play
think so.
something else than delete my save data, because if I delete all my, I don't want to have to do 9 or 10 Colossi again, like the ones I've already done.
How you
Yeah,
feel.
Josie,
You see,
that's
this
a whole
is weird
2
though,
to
because
3
now that
hours
you
of
know
gameplay.
where they are and how to kill them, it should be quite quick. So it's not actually that bad, is it?
No, that's not a huge amount. It's not. No,
It's
neither
not as
of
bad
those
as
are long
it's not as bad
games.
as BioShock.
Yeah,
BioShock's
BioShock.
way worse, because I've played BioShock for like 9 hours. I think
Bullshit. If you played BioShock for 9 hours, you'd have completed it twice.
I'm too. Well, no, it's
That's
I don't think it's that
exaggeration,
short.
but-
I think I'm 2/3 of the way through. I think I'm about 2/3 of the
When
way
did
through.
BioShock become a? Okay, I won't.
It's got to be 12,
You know what?
13
I won't
hours long.
nitpick. I won't nitpick.
Surely.
Nah, I think that's like an 8-hour game.
I wonder if I could look quick and see how long I've been playing BioShock for. I'll probably be completely wrong now.
Are you playing it on
You can have a
PC?
look.
No, but I've got my PlayStation app on my phone, so I think I can check on there.
Does it?
All right. In the meantime,
I
while
don't think it tells you, but-
Jamie's doing
Does it
that,
not?
while Jonesy's doing that, Jamie, you want to tell us what you've been playing in our weekly catch up?
Indeed. Not a whole lot of new stuff, I guess. A good something that we're doing every week now, and I feel like I have to keep doing because I keep having fun with it, is giving a little Warzone update.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
Because I have
A
been playing
little
more Warzone.
birdie told me that you got a big W the other day.
Got that big fat greasy dub. And you know what? I remember saying in that match to shout out to Martin Ruffle from Just Interesting and Sam Richards from 101 Facts. I remember saying to them, boys, this match, we're going to get that big fat greasy dub. And we did. And I remember saying it like that. I don't know why I called it a big fat greasy dub.
Big fat
Sounds a bit
greasy
Oh,
weird.
I know why.
Well,
You got it on your mind.
Come on. And it was the weirdest match as well. All three of us died very early in the game. All three of us won our gulag matches, got back in, and it ended up in a situation where we realized there were 4 people left in the entire match, including us. So it was one dude, and there was a helicopter up in the air. So it was on the final circle where it closes to the point where it doesn't exist anymore.
So he was flying around in a helicopter?
Yes, it was us 3 on the ground and one dude in a helicopter. So we were just pelting him with everything we had. And eventually you just see this one little dude jump out and start parachuting down. And it's like,
that's great, man.
This is the easiest way we've ever won a Warzone match. But shout out to those two, and shout out to Call of Duty. And I haven't had a chance to play Warzone for a little while, but I might be back into Call of Duty as a series very soon for reasons we'll go into in the news. The other thing I touch on is I briefly played, and I really do mean briefly, the trial kind of free weekend thing for Predator Hunting Grounds.
Okay.
Oh, okay. How was that?
It was, I didn't like it.
Okay.
all right.
Did you play as the Predator or the Marines?
So I did the tutorial where the tutorial is basically about playing as the Predator, because obviously when you're playing as the Marines, it's essentially a first-person shooter. There are some mechanics and concepts you need to learn, but the Predator's the thing where like you're learning controls and what your actual abilities are. I thought it was, for a character that hasn't had a huge amount of history in video games outside of the mostly pretty good. You remember the old school Alien vs Predator games when they were still actually all right?
They were great,
Yeah, so there's some history there, I guess, for there's evidence to suggest you can do a good interpretation of Predator in video game form, but no one's really tried it for a little while. And I thought they were almost successful. They've got this cool Assassin's Creed 3 style thing where you can climb up trees and move through them, and it all feels kind of smooth. You can do these really big leaps. What I felt was lackluster was just the amount of weaponry, like what your arsenal is at the start.
Right.
It seems that you kind of level up the more you play as the Predator and you unlock more weapons, but I was like, really all I've got is this weird shoulder cannon launcher thing.
Yeah.
And I didn't feel as powerful. I had a lot of health, and it was easy to get away from conflicts, but I didn't really feel like the Predator, and that might be down to how I played it. I also just think that the game itself is kind of ugly and janky. I just wasn't really feeling it, and I didn't play it for a huge amount of time. Maybe it'd be in a better place by the time it comes out, which is probably pretty soon at this point. But
so I saw a few people mention about it, and it sort of piqued my interest because, well, for a game that I liked that no one else did, but the idea that they could, if it was something like Evolve,
here we go.
Yeah.
That totally made sense to me. I was like, if you've got a group of commandos like in a forest and a predator, and you, like Jamie said, you don't just include one weapon, you include all the predator's arsenal, and you can go invisible and you can climb trees like Assassin's Creed. It sounds like there's a lot of right moves in there, but
yes.
It just feels like it doesn't do enough.
I was speaking to a friend of mine about it, and he made a point that I think actually sums up the whole thing quite nicely, which is this is probably really fun if you have a private match or something like that with your friends. Right. One thing I will say that's good compared to Evolve, and in that it's slightly different, is that the Predator's skills, and I guess this is kind of true to the movie, aren't super offensive. They're kind of a mix of defensive and offensive. It's not like playing Evolve where you're this 60-foot thing that just like a bull in a china shop or whatever the expression is. The Predator is kind of like, no, if you get spotted and stand in one place, you're going to have 6 Marines just peppering you. So you have to turn invisible. You have to go back up into the tree. So that stuff's kind of interesting.
Okay.
Like being a Marine, like kind of turning around thinking, fuck, he's in the trees. Where the fuck is he? Like trying to shoot him. He's got loads of health. That's interesting.
Okay.
But I didn't get a huge amount out of Evolve back in the day. And so I don't think I'm going to get a huge amount of this. I don't
think you weren't the only one who didn't get a huge amount. I think
Not
Jonesy was
probably
the
not
only
yet.
one who
But
was
then
like,
I think
whoa.
I wish Jonesy had tried this. Jonesy also seems like the kind of guy based on his nostalgia for the movie and just what it would feel like to be able to control the Predator would also get a kick out of this. So
I'd definitely have a try on it for sure.
That's it goes under the Wait for Jonesy's review kind of section of the Super Show podcast.
Hey, on my brand new channel, I could put it on there.
There he is. I was waiting for the plug. And speaking of your...
on your little
the whiteboard is back
on the back there, it seems like you've got a link. Do you want to let us know what it is, Alex Jones?
If you go to YouTube and search for Super Show Jonesy, you'll find my very own channel.
Go and grab the whiteboard. Bring it closer. Let's get a nice close-up look at this.
Oh, here we go. What?
Jesus Christ.
Oh,
That is
look at that.
So that is one of those weird perspective things that fucks you up. I thought that was about 10 feet away from you. No. I thought you were about to get up and walk over to it.
It's super close.
Yeah, it does actually. You're right.
Like you look like you're fucking Stretch Armstrong leaning back to that thing.
My arm's just like gone back that far. If anybody wants to reach us, I'm at Twitter SuperShow Jonesy, SuperShow Pod, and then it's Chris and Jamie. There you go. All of our Twitters.
Wow, didn't even read our tags properly, Jamie. So
we understand. They'll find us if they want us.
At Chris J Mono and at ATG Jamie. So there you go.
Wow.
Still looking for that new social tag, yeah, Jamie.
It's funny. The other day, because everyone's going crazy with this fucking coronavirus. Everyone's doing these things on Twitter where they're tagging each other to say, "Hey, what's your favourite game of all time?"
Yeah.
And Steph got tagged in one the other day. Did it and was doing his tags. And I want to say like he tagged you two and he tagged Rasheen and didn't tag me. And I was like, okay, is this Steph's weird like
shots
way
fired.
of telling me? And then I was speaking to him later, and we were joking about it. And he goes, "I couldn't find you. I don't know what your name is." And I go, "What do you mean?" And he goes, "Well, it can't be ATG Jamie anymore. You don't work there." And I was like,
"That's great.
It's delayed." Wow. And he goes, "I was typing in SuperShow Jamie. I was typing in SS Jamie, and I couldn't find you."
SS Jamie.
And I was like, "Yeah, it's never going to be that."
Yeah, I think this is you've got. You think you need a task before the next pod, which is that you need to have picked a new handle.
But hold on. Okay, because we can't just be doing this willy nilly. You got to finish your forfeit first.
Oh, hey, I'll finish my forfeit. Oh, what was my forfeit? We never actually.
No, hold on, because you can't just say, "Oh, hey, I'll finish it." Because guess what? You told us that you'd finish the games as well.
No, I have to prove it, right? I have to prove that I've done the forfeit for the next podcast.
Yes, you've got to prove it.
I will prove it. Don't worry.
Even if it's a short video on social media.
I will make a short video out of me doing whatever it is I need to do. I'll do like a vloggy behind the scenes, painful, video of me doing one of them. But you guys need to pick which one. Because we didn't actually get there, did we? So yeah.
I reckon. Okay, to be perfectly honest with you, I know it's a bigger cost, but I reckon if you do Animal Crossing, that'll be interesting. Plus, then you could give it to your wife or your kids or something. So it's like double whammy.
This is true. Okay, so we're going for that.
Animal Crossing.
Playing Animal Crossing.
I like it. It's a monetary punishment as well.
Yeah, I was going to say, I like the fact that Shadow of the Colossus and Bioshock were both free recently, and Jonesy's punishment for not finishing them is buying a whole new game that he won't finish.
That is a punishment. What can I say?
Although, actually, is Animal Crossing one of those games that you can't finish? Because if it is, then, Jonesy, that kind of works in your favour, because then no one can slag you off.
You can finish it, apparently. I was chatting to people the other day in our Discord, some of our patrons, and I was asking them about Animal Crossing, and a few of them were playing it. I think Mickey was saying that he played it, and he said that, I believe it was Mickey said, that you effectively, once you pay off your debt, that's when you kind of finish it. Or that could then be classed as the end of the game.
Okay, yeah, but
you're no longer indebted to Tom Nook.
But I think it carries on from that point, though. Right?
The game carries on, but that's effectively like, that's the end game, I guess.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah, do that, Jonesy. Do that, and you just play it. Just prove to us that you're playing it, and then that's done. And then we can move on to Jamie and say, "Hey, Jamie, guess what? Well, you got to get a tag, my man."
The thing is, I feel bad now asking anyone for advice on what a new name could be, because I've done it to you guys and some other people and friends and stuff like that. I've done it to the community and the people in the Discord. I've asked all these people for a range of ideas, and so many people have given me really good ideas, but I haven't been able to do any of them because they're taken or because it hasn't quite worked. But now I'm like, I can't reasonably keep asking people for ideas. Like, I'm stuck. I genuinely feel stuck.
Too many good ideas.
Yeah, kind of. Like, I literally,
why don't you just do
at one point,
what SuperShow Jonesy did and just go SuperShow Jamie? I mean,
I don't know. I mean,
and if the SuperShow fizzles out, then just change it again.
No, it wouldn't. Honestly, it wouldn't be because I was worried about this fizzling out or something weird like that. It was almost just because I feel like moving away from that ATG title is a way to kind of like branch out and do something completely new. And
yeah, I get you.
I guess there's a voice in the back of my head that says this is an opportunity to kind of not like create a persona or anything weird like that, but just like have a new identity of sorts that's away from a brand that, as we've seen firsthand, sometimes might not exist anymore. And like, if there does come a point where all of a sudden for whatever reason, I don't want to be called SuperShow Jamie. I'm not trying to give you cold feet here, Jonesy. I'm just saying. Then it's like, great, I need to change my name again because I didn't learn my lesson from, hey, don't have the name of brands or channels in your name if you can't control what happens to them.
Well, I don't know if you've noticed, but you see my tag there? Doesn't have ATG in it. Doesn't have SuperShow in it.
Right.
See, my thinking was that Chris doesn't have SuperShow in his, and if I put SuperShow in mine and something happens to the SuperShow, no one will remember the SuperShow, so it won't matter anyway. I'll just be SuperShow Jonesy, and no one will know.
Yeah, I mean, ultimately, in the day and age where you could change it to whatever's available, like, what does it matter? Yeah. Anyway, okay. We're still talking about catch-up. Jonesy, so what games have you been playing then? Besides, hold on, Jamie. Jamie's still got more.
Just wanted to say very quickly, I finished Doom Eternal as well.
Nice. Okay, well, yeah, let's hear your thoughts then. Because we obviously had your halfway thoughts on it last week.
Yeah, hold on, can I just say, if you haven't seen it, check out Jamie's thoughts to sort of the midway point of the game that we put up on the channel. Because Jamie gives us a nice little, what was it, our top 2 things we hate in all caps about Doom Eternal.
Which I hope wasn't interpreted too literally by anyone who saw that video and hadn't listened to the podcast. That whole thing was meant to be tongue-in-cheek, and I very much like Doom Eternal.
It was tongue-in-cheek, for sure, it was,
yeah.
So go on, where are you at?
Well, fortunately for people who listened last week and kind of went off what I was saying then, I don't think my thoughts have changed too much outright. They've kind of just been developed by what I experienced in the latter parts of that game.
Sure.
Which is kind of like, hey, everything I thought was slightly problematic last week, I stand by completely. I think there are huge missed opportunities in terms of the story. I think there are ideas that they never fully develop on. And I think you spend a good part of that story, like I said last week, listening to the place names and like item names and people's names. And you think it's all going to kind of grow and snowball into this big Doom lore kind of like crazy cutscene shit where everything's kicking off. And it's just like nothing ever really happens. And there's so many times where you're expected to dip into that codex and figure shit out for yourself. And I was just like, I can't be fucking bothered. I've picked up 11 different codex entries on the history of the Sentinels. I'm not going to read it all. And so
do you do what I do, right? Because every time I pick up something like that, I always think, I'll read it later. I'll sit down and I'll come on and I'll read it all in one go and I'll like commit it to memory. And you know what? I never, ever do. And then you never read it and you never get all that lore. So
yeah. Like there are 2 missions.
I never read that shit. Like audio logs or GTFO, right?
Yeah.
Kinda. I read some of it. There are 2 missions for me that were like polar opposite from each other and summed up the 2 sides of the 2 battling sides almost of Doom's story.
Yeah.
One was one that they used to kind of promote the game a little bit prior to release, so it's not a huge spoiler to talk about it, but it's the Doom guy, the Doom Slayer, taking control of the BFG 10,000, which is now this fucking 200-foot-long laser that's mounted in the middle of a planet, and uses it to shoot a hole into Mars so he can get to the core of Mars. And it's like, it's the most brilliant Doom thing ever, and I fucking loved it. Then the next mission is more of a spoiler, so all I'll say Gladiator, and anyone who's played the game should know what I mean. That whole mission felt like it was meant to be this really cool story moment where you're learning more about the Doomslayer, and for me, just none of it landed. None of the dialogue landed, none of the characters landed, none of the moments landed. There's one bit specifically, one line of dialogue that probably was meant to sound really cool, and it just didn't. And you know what? That stayed true all the way to the end of the game, to the ending, which I did not like because it's not a fucking ending. I apologise if anyone is bothered by this.
It, right? They can't actually have a hard end because it's just like a series.
No, but what I mean is that this is as close as you can get from credits rolling the second you kill the final boss as possible. Literally, kill the final boss, 30 seconds of VO, credits. And I was like, come on, give me something. Like, clearly you have all these ideas, just do something with them. Like, did you not want to make cutscenes? Were all the cutscenes you want to make Doomslayer standing in front of someone who we don't know the fucking name of while they're talking ye olde English about some Khan maker bullshit? Like, do something.
It was funny.
It was very frustrating. Sorry.
After you were saying about the fact that there was like 5 proper nouns in every little cutscene, and it would all be sort of like stupid names of people you've never heard of. I've really struggled to take in the story. Like, I've watched it, I've read it as they've said it, I've even read some of that codex stuff, and still, when I'm like, who's this dude? Like, what is happening now?
But like, also, when you finish the game, you realize the story itself, the surface level story, i.e. none of that fucking codex level shit, is really... If you've played the first, 15 minutes of the game, you know what you're doing for the entire game.
Right, okay.
Like... Yeah.
I can't say too much because I'm going to spoil... I don't want to spoil anything for anyone, but yeah, there's so much I was bothered by about that game. And do you know what's the worst thing about it? You know what's the most frustrating thing about it?
Go on.
Is when I step back and look at Doom Eternal and think about what I don't like about it the most, 95% of the shit I don't like was stuff that wasn't in Doom 2016.
Right.
Yeah.
Which is another way of saying a lot of the things they did that were new, Marauders, Archviles, things like fucking buff totems or whatever they're called. I was like, I don't need them. Don't need them. I'm done. I'm out.
Okay, so here's... Sorry, Jones, go on.
Oh, I was just going to say, so I didn't really get into Doom 2016, but from what I've played of so far of Doom 2020, I think I'm about where you're up to, Chris. We're about a similar position in the game, I think. It makes me want to go back and play that and be like, was I missing something with Doom 2016? Like, did I just not... Maybe I wasn't in the right frame of mind to get into it.
Maybe.
So I think once I finish Doom Eternal, I've got Doom 2016, so I think I might hop back into it.
Yeah, why not? So I was just going to say, so you mentioned we're probably about the same place, and that's because I streamed it yesterday.
You did stream it yesterday.
Yeah, and
very
you guys
good
jumped
stream.
in the chat,
Enjoyable.
so I'm appreciative of that. But how's that, Jamie? I played the game for 3 hours last night on stream. I'm the same place as Jonesy. He's had the game since it came out.
Yeah,
I haven't had a chance to play that much of it, to be honest. Except for that. And then I was telling you just before the stream, Chris, that I... one of you anyway, that I rage quit the other day and actually made a video out of it and put it on my own channel.
I love that.
God, there's Plug City around there.
The point I was getting at, though, is as I was playing the game, and so look, I'd played a small amount of Doom 2016, and obviously we covered it a lot on All Time Gaming. So without having finished the game by playing it, I know everything about it, right? And it just kind of felt to me as I was playing through Doom Eternal and shit was happening, and I wasn't caring too much about it because obviously you're on a stream and you just want to kind of get on with it. But it just kind of felt to me that they tried too hard to kind of come up with this backstory for Doom guy, right? Or the Doom Slayer, whatever you want to call him. I mean, they're technically the same thing. But it's almost like in Doom 2016, it was like, hey, here's how fucking simple it is. You're this Doom Slayer, you kill demons, fucking go and do it, right? It was a simple enough premise. Sure, it was a little bit more than that, but for the most part, it was a simple premise. But it seems like with this, it was so fucking convoluted. Like Jamie, you were saying with the fucking King Noviak or whatever his fucking name was, and the Sentinels and going back in time and shit. And it's like, what the fuck is this? Like, what are they doing?
I'm of the opinion as well that I'm actually down for all that stuff if that's the direction they want to go. But it's like they didn't commit to it. They came up with all this stuff and didn't give themselves the opportunity to implement it in a way that made sense in the flow of the game. So what you end up getting is a 30-second cutscene every 2 to 3 hours of gameplay where someone you've never seen or heard of before talks to you about things you've never seen or heard of before. While at the same time, elements from Doom 2016, like there's a character that I won't say who that returns, and I'm waiting for something to happen with them and nothing happens. I just don't think they make good on any of the stuff they're hinting at them doing. And so many things fall flat.
Do you think that maybe they needed one long cutscene at the start that just kind of sets everything up? Because it just kind of the game starts, you're given your shotgun and you go, right?
Yeah, I like the urgency of the beginning, but I like it within the context of hey, if you want to keep going at that pace, then that's fine. But no, the second they start like that, and then the second they decided not to acknowledge what happened between Doom 2016 and Doom Eternal in a cutscene or any kind of in-game dialogue was the second where I was like, okay, they're going for something here. They kind of don't want to dwell on that stuff. But then they immediately start dwelling on that stuff. But still, I'm a fan of Doom. I've read all the codex things that I want to read. I can't tell you what happened between Doom 2016 and Doom Eternal.
Right.
I don't know how the Doom guy ended up in the Fortress of Doom.
Yeah.
I feel like I should know, but I don't.
Oh, that's probably going to be the DLC, right?
It almost feels like there's supposed to be a supporting Netflix series that you were supposed to watch before this game came out.
A Netflix animated feature.
Because the Sentinels and King Novik and the Khan Maker go from people who either A, haven't been mentioned before, or B, are hinted at, to like, no, these are characters within the world that Doom Guy interacts with once over the course of 8 hours, but it's still meant to be extremely meaningful and poignant when it's fucking not. I don't know. I don't want to rant too much about this game because I do like it, but
I found that with the Betrayer. Like, I don't know if he comes back as a character.
Nope. That's the first and last time you see him. Last time you see him.
It's such a short, like,
who is he? What the fuck? What's he there? What's he there for? What's that thing he gave you? Why do we never see him again? What the?
Did he not? So I wonder what that was, but I thought he gave you the hilt for the sword.
He gives you the hilt for a sword, but not the sword.
Ah, right.
That's not the Crucible, the big glowing red sword.
Yeah, right.
No, in fact, he gives you the thing. He gives you the orb that you need to power up to find the next Hell Demon or Hell Priest.
Oh,
or whatever they're called.
your fucking.
But then he throws you the thing that's like a hilt for a sword.
Yeah, he does. But like I said, that's a different sword, if that makes sense.
Okay.
You will find out what that's for later, but that's a fantastic example of like a character who appears, never been in the series before, never pops up again for the rest of the game. You don't know who he is. You don't know why he's the betrayer. It expects you to do so much homework, and when you do it, because I was still reading the codexes at that point, it's not even satisfying.
I read the codex for that, and I must admit I was none the wiser. I was like, hold on. So, okay.
So what you guys are telling me is don't bother reading the codex. Got it.
No, I think do, but I don't think it's going to help.
Just don't expect anything. Like, if you go in expecting this to be a game about the Doom Marine killing 3 Hell Priests and then the Khan Maker, spoiler alert, that's the fucking game.
All right, look, we're maybe dwelling too much on Doom here. Let's move on.
Sorry.
So yeah, Jonesy, I mean,
sweating
just very
now.
quickly, have you played any other games?
No, dude. I think for me, it was
other
just,
than Connect 4.
I played like a little bit of Connect 4. I played a bit of Shadow of the Colossus. I did another Colossi, so that was good.
Nice.
So you played for 15 minutes.
Yeah, literally 15 minutes. And then shit, what else did I do? I played some Doom. Yeah, that was it.
Nice. Okay. Well, yeah, I played some Doom. I played some Modern Warfare Warzone, and I played some Risk of Rain 2 yesterday. Just dipped my toe back into it because I saw that there was an update. So yeah, that's still a great game and criminally underrated and probably not appreciated as much as it or widespread as much as it should be.
Nice.
But, yeah, there you go. All right, guys, let's move on to some of the interesting stuff. So. Jamie, you
thanks for boring the shit
didn't
out
mean
of
it
us.
that way, but yeah.
Doom Eternal, never talking about that fucking game again.
Well, you never know. But you were talking about, when we were talking about Warzone, we were talking about some more Call of Duty stuff that you might be dipping your toe into, Jamie.
Yes. Because
you wanna take that and run with it?
As people with their ear close to the ground will have been anticipating for some time now, although maybe not at this point in time, and as suddenly as it happened, the campaign only of Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 has been remastered and is now on sale only on the PS4, interestingly enough. But yeah.
Well, it's a timed release. It's going to be on PC and Xbox April 30th.
Okay.
And I think that's a bit of a shitty move. Like, I understand PlayStation and the exclusives, especially with Call of Duty.
Yeah,
it's quite a thing. But the fact that everyone's at home and it's just like, come on, guys, do we really need to be like chasing those dollars while people are locked in their houses going fucking stir crazy? Just give everyone the fucking release.
Yeah, it does seem like a weirdly significantly large thing to keep away from 2/3 of your potential audience for that amount of time as well, like a whole month. If I had,
well, to be fair, it's not as long as it could have been, I guess, but still, yeah, it's not great.
Oh, yeah, but still, like, the remastered campaign of Modern Warfare 2, like, I get a few maps or something like that, or a weapon, or, I don't know, a week of Battle Pass exclusivity, but I don't know, this felt like a big thing to not let everyone play, but maybe that's just me.
It seems pointless for a month. It doesn't seem like what's the point? I don't get it. Okay, fine, fine.
Yeah. Also, it's like, what's going to happen? Is fucking average Joe person in his home going to be like, oh shit, I really want to play Modern Warfare 2. I don't have a PlayStation. Let me just nip down to the electronics store and buy one.
No, then of course they're
like,
not.
It makes zero fucking sense. But anyway, it's $20, which is not a lot of money for a great campaign. And it includes a ghost skin and a couple of other frilly bits for Modern Warfare and Warzone, obviously. So
yeah,
it's all right. No Russian is still in the game, luckily. So,
good.
Get to play that all over. And because it's in the game, Sony Russia has refused to sell it.
Again. Didn't they refuse to sell it last time?
I don't remember.
When it came out.
But I mean, it kind of makes sense. I mean, it doesn't paint them in a particularly good light. It's a massive act of terrorism perpetrated by Russians in cold blood.
Yeah, but hold on. But then again, like, all of the fucking Call of Duty games are like, oh yeah, those are the Russians. They're the bad guys. Like,
but I feel like this was the most explicit ever. Like, hey, here's the Russians fucking committing an act of mass terrorism. I don't know.
You can kind of understand.
War is war. Terror. I don't know. Maybe I'm overthinking it, but like, I can kind of see why Russians would be sensitive about it.
Yeah. No, you're right. But I was chatting to you, Jamie, last night actually.
Yeah.
And Jonesy, I want to get your take on this as well. Like, how fucking confusing is it now? Okay, because we've had the Modern Warfare reboot.
Yep.
Right. But then they remastered Modern Warfare just before that. Now they've remastered Modern Warfare 2, but the Modern Warfare reboot kind of hinted at another entry in Modern Warfare because it kind of alluded to something. So basically,
for sure,
it turns out that the reboot of Modern Warfare is kind of the pseudo prequel to the original Modern Warfare.
Oh, dude, I'm so confused with the naming structure and how these games will fit together. I've got no idea.
It's going to be so fucking ridiculous going forward. It's just like, what are they going to call the next, like, new Modern Warfare? They're going to have to just call it, like, Modern
Advanced
Warfare.
Oh, no, wait.
Yeah, exactly. Or like, Modern Warfare Parabellum or some shit.
It was going to be some, like, stupid, like, they'll have to add words so you can make sense of it.
And, like, there were some reports that they were looking to turn, from this point onwards, Modern Warfare 2019 into sort of this hub for the best of Modern Warfare, meaning every game in the series. So they were kind of going to pull maps from Modern Warfare's 1 through 3, the old school ones and things like that. But at the same time, Chris is right. The existence of Modern Warfare Remastered as a thing that came out like 2 years before Modern Warfare 2019, that still is a standalone thing, is kind of confusing because you can still go and play Modern Warfare Remastered multiplayer, but then you can log on to Modern Warfare and play remastered maps from Modern Warfare in Modern Warfare. And now you've got Modern Warfare 2, where they've decided not to do the multiplayer because I guess they don't want people not playing Modern Warfare.
Well, yeah, because they'll be 2019 then, I guess.
You know when it's a bit of a mess. You up is when your mate says to you, "Hey, dude, do you want to play some Modern Warfare online?" And you're like, "Yeah, wicked, okay." And then you boot it up, and they're like, "Where? I can't find you. Like, I can't add you to the game." And you're like, I've just booted up the remaster." You're like, "Not the remaster, the reboot, the reboot 1, reboot 2, reboot 1." And it's just.
And do you know what the worst part of all of this is? Is the more shit they do, the more that friend who realizes they're playing the wrong Modern Warfare is going to go to download Modern Warfare 2019 and be like, "Yeah, it's 250 gigabytes now because it's got 17 campaigns, 400 maps, 2 battle royales." And it's like, what the fuck are we doing?
Well, this is the nightmare that I had.
A new one's going to come out in 7 months. A new Call of Duty. Oh, forget it.
Do you know what you should do? Just play Warzone. Just forget all of these and play Warzone.
Yeah, but listen, right, Jonesy. So I loaded Warzone on my PC. So I didn't have Modern Warfare. I've got Modern Warfare on my PlayStation, but I want to play Warzone on my PC. So I downloaded it on my PC. It was 101 gigs, I think.
Oof.
And they've just patched it with a new, like, 1.18 or whatever it is. And that is an 85 gig patch. Like, you are replacing 85% of your fucking game in a patch. Like, I don't get it. I really don't understand
patch,
it.
Man. That's big.
Yeah, Modern Warfare has been notorious for being just horrible about that kind of stuff, and I don't doubt that it's all they can do, and something about the way the game is assembled or lives on hard drives, this is what they have to do, but it's very, very frustrating, and fucking SSDs couldn't come soon enough.
No, absolutely.
But another interesting point, and it's something that Jamie and I touched on in one of our chats during the week, is so obviously they've just launched Warzone, but they haven't spun it out into its own thing. You've got to launch into Modern Warfare, even though it's free. And then once you're in Modern Warfare, you can play Warzone. But we know that there's going to be a new COD coming out this year. So what happens to Warzone? It goes like, who's still playing Black Ops 4, for example, right? What was it called? Blackout.
Yeah.
But it does take us into a very interesting kind of thing, which I think we can now probably talk about a little bit more freely, is it's been very strongly hinted that this year's Call of Duty is going to be a, what would it be, Black Ops 5?
Black Ops 5, yeah, from Treyarch.
Yeah. Which is interesting. Yeah, Treyarch again. I mean, Jamie, you're more clued up in the studios and the development of this kind of thing.
Yeah, so I guess the weird thing about this, in theory, if the rumours and speculation are to be believed, which I personally, based on who's reporting it, I think it's a pretty safe bet, is that Call of Duty was on a 3-year cycle and had been since, I don't know, a little while ago, because we obviously had Infinity Ward and Treyarch going back and forth for a long time. The people that kind of came in and mixed things up were Sledgehammer Games. Sledgehammer made Advanced Warfare and World War II. So 2020 was meant to be a Sledgehammer Games year. The thing that was slightly different was Raven Software, who were kind of a support studio and had been helping out over the last couple of years. I think they were going to take the lead, and it was kind of going to be a Raven Sledgehammer combo with Raven kind of leading from the front.
Yeah.
From what we've been led to believe, there were difficulties in the working relationship between Sledgehammer and Raven, and it led to the point where Call of Duty 2020 was not coming together. Activision stepped in, came to Treyarch and said, hey, you're making Black Ops 5 and it's coming out in 2020, so get busting. And Sledgehammer and Raven, stop making that game you're making. You're going to help Treyarch get Black Ops 5 out in time because, hey, Treyarch, guess what? You know how you didn't make a campaign for Black Ops 4 even though you're on the 3-year cycle? Now we want Black Ops 5 in 2 years, but can we have a campaign if possible?
Yeah,
so it's going to be fun when this game drops. It's going to be amazing.
Oh yes,
it's going to be a
this is where it gets kind of
epic proportions.
This is where it gets kind of interesting, right? Because we actually knew what the campaign was for Black Ops 4 before they kind of scrapped it. And make no mistakes, they had an idea for it and they did scrap it.
Well, we talked about it at the time, didn't we? We talked about like what they were doing and whether or not it was going to come out, and it was just a complete nightmare in the end.
But yeah, I thought it would be interesting to go back to the notes that I have on what that campaign was. And let's kind of gaze into the crystal ball. Well, it's like a reverse gazing into the crystal ball, I guess, and see if this will actually be what Black Ops 5 turns out to be.
Yes.
I think you've probably nailed it, to be fair, Chris. Go on, because I think they're doing what you're doing.
Yeah.
They're looking at their notes for the
I know, by the
story for Black Ops
100%.
Chris, you take the lead on this, but I've just pulled up my notes as well from what was going on around that time. And I've just noticed something that I did not notice this whole time that is kind of fascinating, but I'll jump in afterwards.
Okay, cool. So so we went to this kind of thing where they told us about what the game was, and we were meant to watch the cinematic, blah, blah, blah. So we piled in a room, we watched the cinematic, and the cinematic was not a cinematic. It was like, hey, here's a clip from War of the Planet of the Apes, and here's a clip from fucking, I don't know, whatever it was, like The Matrix or whatever, like all tied together with a very particular voiceover. And it's like, okay, this is weird. And we were told, no, it was more like a mood reel to get you to understand.
It's horrible.
Yeah, it was not great, okay? But they wanted this kind of like dark, gritty kind of thing, right? So the idea was it was meant to be set 5 years after Black Ops 3, where a deadly virus has taken... Tell me if this sounds familiar. Where a deadly virus has taken over the world and there is no cure, all right? And the gameplay in this, or rather the story, was going to be very morally ambiguous and kind of nothing is black and white. It's all gray areas, okay? So the idea was that you'd be playing as either the Union or the FPA, whatever, and you'd choose a side, and as the story progresses, you'd have the chance to flip sides depending on like what happens in the story. And they say, actually, these guys I'm no longer want to be aligned with them because they just, blew up a nursery school or something. I don't know. So I always thought it was a really interesting idea that you could defect your allegiance wherever you wanted, right? There was quite a few other things. Yeah, I'm just going to go through the notes there. Jamie, just want to jump in while I just go through this.
I just thought one thing. I forget if you just said this, Chris. I apologize if you did. But one thing that was interesting, just from a where they kind of saw it going perspective, was they even referred to it as a career mode.
Yes.
Rather than a story mode, which I thought just using that word, just even that kind of gives you a sense of, hey, here's you're on this kind of trajectory and you're swapping sides throughout, and the way they kind of saw your progression through the campaign or the career, I guess, and zombies and multiplayer, because at this stage in time, Black Ops 4 didn't have a battle royale mode. How that all flowed together, I thought it was very interesting.
Yeah, some of the multiplayer stuff that they were talking about for Black Ops 4 was, yeah, you're right, not battle royale mode, but it sounded more like Overwatch, like an arena shooter 5v5.
Yeah, which, I mean, to be fair, the final version of Black Ops 4 did feature specialists, and it was a little bit more concentrated in that sense.
Yeah.
I forget if it was 5v5, it might have been 5v5 at launch, or 6 I don't remember.
Sounds about right. But yeah, so back to Black Ops 4, it was about what could be moral ambiguity, dark, illicit, and subversive. Basically, they wanted to take the themes that they had of World War II, and then they wanted to like flip them around and say, hey, this is going to be the exact opposite of all of that shit. And specialists were going to be a very important thing. So how that kind of played out, I don't know. Could your character in the single player campaign choose a speciality, and then you choose an allegiance, and then throughout the game you can defect at certain like plot points? It's interesting.
It is interesting. One of the more interesting things I think is you got to think with the time frame that they're on, the fact that, like you said, they've sort of been put onto this project quite late in the day, is that they're probably going to dip into ideas they had in the past. The issue is the world has changed so much since that game was on the drawing board. That really dangerous that they end up making something which is, for a different time. And I mean, blimey, look what's going on in the world now. Look at how games have changed. Look at all the battle royale games that have sort of come and gone since then. I don't know, man. I think they could really struggle. I think whatever they do, if it looks back to Black Ops 4, I think they will struggle if they look back for that story, that career mode, that sort of progression.
Yeah, I wonder. I think it'll be interesting to see if it's like basically that.
Yeah, it will be, because I mean, the elephant in the room, that is one way of getting a campaign together very quickly under time constraints, is by resurrecting elements that you didn't get to use in a previous game. If Black Ops 4's campaign was as far along as we believe it was, and it was scrapped very quickly, surprisingly late in the day as well. I think we found out that it was cancelled in, I think it was March of that year. So they'd been working on it for, a while, over 2 years in theory.
I think it was like a month before the reveal. They just kind of changed direction.
Well, the mad thing was, I mean, at the time, do you remember? You guys would definitely remember. We were getting asked to come up with like pitches on how we would represent that stuff for all-time gaming, and how we would push the sort of the story thing, and then we would constantly get, we've changed what it's going to be. It's changed what it's going to be, and then the last change, I believe, was there's no story mode. It's all multiplayer, and we were just like, what? Yeah. This late in the day, you've done that? That is insanity. But
mad. It didn't seem to work out too badly for them, so whatever.
And I'll also say to what Jonesy was saying just then about kind of a game that's similar in theory to Black Ops 4 and is kind of looking forward a little bit in the way that Black Ops has done recently, is that one of the rumors around the next Black Ops Call of Duty 2020 is that rather than being called Black Ops 5, it will be called Black Ops. I guess similar to how Call of Duty 2019 was Call of Duty Modern Warfare, And the reason that they might do that is because they might go back to what Black Ops was originally about and some kind of Cold War, Vietnam War kind of shit, which is the kind of the trick they got up their sleeve, right? Because you look at the kind of the Call of Duty versus Battlefield thing. They were all kind of Modern Warfare was the hot thing. Then going back to World War II was the hot thing. Then anything but those two things was cool. And Call of Duty went to Infinite Warfare and Battlefield went to World War One. Now maybe it's like, hey, let's just do Vietnam or Cold War stuff again because no one else has done that for a little while, and it can be fresh.
That stuff's definitely underrepresented.
Yeah, especially if they're just like if Activision see this as like just get a fucking game out, and we'll work hard for the next one. Modern Warfare 2 will be our big hit. Anyway, can I quickly say something that I saw in my notes that was super interesting?
Yeah.
I'll talk non-specifically where possible because I don't want to get us into trouble. But when we found out that Call of Duty Black Ops 4 was not going to have a campaign and it was going to have a battle royale instead, they started describing Blackout to us. So they said that the Specialist would still be in it. PUBG and Fortnite were used as references, but they said it wouldn't be a clone. It would have vehicles, classic COD gameplay and all that kind of stuff. Yeah. But the code name that they were developing, the Black Ops 4 Battle Royale at that time, was Warzone.
Oh, so you knew about it. We knew about it all the way back then, and we didn't even know.
I'm guessing they maybe they needed a name for the new thing, and they were like, well, we didn't use Warzone, so let's use Warzone now. But I thought that was interesting. The word Warzone was being used behind the scenes as early as Q1 2018.
Wow, for sure.
2 years before it actually came out. There you go.
Yeah. Right, so that's us never working with Activision again.
Well, yeah, probably.
Whatever, it's been long enough.
They wouldn't have worked with us anyway.
It's like dog years, right? Like in gaming news years, it's been like 75 years. It's fine.
We technically didn't work with them as ATG. So, like, what are the chances of it? Like, we spoke to them, but we didn't work with them.
Yeah, exactly.
They kicked us out of their own party.
They did.
Look, if they do go to back to original Black Ops and Vietnam and Cold War and everything, that's a remake. And from one remake to another remake, see how I just manufactured that segue? Final Fantasy 7 Remake.
Yeah, the not so good one.
Yeah.
Ooh,
I never said it was good,
what?
Alex Jones. But yeah, Final Fantasy 7 Remake has broken its street date, and there are physical copies flying around in the ether, in the wild.
Yeah.
Interesting. I'm very, very, very jealous.
I bet you wish you were in Australia, where one retail store, I forget which one it was, just straight out came up and said, like, come to the shop now and buy Final Fantasy 7 Remake. We'll sell it to you.
Yeah. What actually happened here? Like, how did they sell the copy? They just decided to sell the copies early.
Well, yeah, okay. So it's interesting, right? So I don't know if you remember, like, initially they'd put out this press release on social media saying, like, hey, because of coronavirus, physical copies may be delayed, right?
Yes, yeah.
And everyone was a bit bummed out, but, like, obviously it made sense. But they did still commit to that and saying, hey, the digital release will still be released on the 10th of April.
Sure, because why would anything go wrong with a digital release?
Yeah, sure, exactly. Yeah. Okay, so all fine. In the meantime, you've got a couple of other factors. So PlayStation started throttling their download service to kind of alleviate the global bandwidth,
sure.
Right? But Square Enix released these physical copies. So initially the physical copies, it seemed like it was like a leak or something, and people just got their hands on these copies. But then Square Enix came out and said, no, this is on purpose because they are having difficulty in the current situation that we're in. They found it very difficult to coordinate a global release on the same day. And they were worried about delays and people being dissatisfied. So they eased up a lot on kind of saying like, hey, don't sell the game. So
this sounds like they just didn't have enough people still at work at Square Enix.
Yeah.
So when they called up and was like, hey man, can we just like still sell these copies? They were like, do whatever you want, mate. We haven't got the staff to deal with it. Just crack on.
I mean, I wouldn't be surprised. So
that was my awful Australian accent, by the way. There you go.
I liked it.
Little treat.
I thought it was all right.
You can't tell right now, but I'm actually erect under the table. So
wow.
Job done.
Ba-doing.
I wondered why that microphone lifted up slightly.
Yeah, it's like... but yeah, so and then Square Enix released a press release themselves and saying like, hey, yes, this is intentional. But then if they've done this and the game is clearly ready to be played and blah, 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 and everyone is fucking stuck at home with their fingers up their arseholes just waiting for stuff to do.
Well, that might be how you pass the time, Chris. Not all of us. Don't put me in.
It's the only way to pass the time, my friend.
Well, I'm not sure about that.
But yeah,
either.
the question is like, why don't you just tell Sony that they can release it early on digital platform?
I'm a little bit torn because I think if the shop has the physical copies in stock, right, that's one thing. Then they can sell them. It's no stress for them just to sell those copies. Moving forward, the digital release date on the PlayStation Store and everything, that might be more of a difficult thing to orchestrate when it's already scheduled. When it's going to be live. You've got all your pages set up.
Fair point.
I wonder if it's almost the backwards thing in this thing is that the digital side of it, like we know uploading a video, getting it online, sorting out your metadata, even that sort of stuff for what the limited stuff we do takes time. So I wonder if it was a sense of, for the sake of like a week, why bother? Like just keep it as is. Let's not, because then they might do something that breaks their release, right? By accident. It might coincide with another release.
It's
just
a weird kind of situation.
It makes
right?
sense to me in some respects.
Yeah, it's just a weird situation because the review embargo lifts on the 6th, but the game's out. But
the thing is, it's not out. It's not out.
It's semi-out. It's just
hundreds of millions of people are in lockdown. Lots of countries have, like ours, have rules in place where non-essential shops and services have closed down. There are no physical retailers in the UK right now selling Final Fantasy VII Remake early. You might be able to find online ones that might post it too early, but if just as many of them have warnings at the moment saying, hey, you might get this game late. So, the vast majority of people, I don't think, are going to play this game dramatically early. The other thing that Square Enix probably think about a little bit is if they shift the release date forward by, let's say, a week, you know what happens? You come out on the same day as Resident Evil 3. Like Jonesy said, I think there may be logistical reasons for it not to happen. It's just going to be... It's going to be frustrating because there are going to be people who have their hands on the game. But we just have to deal with it.
I'm very frustrated. Come on, I just want to play
this.
game.
I love it. This news story was Chris is frustrated because the digital date's not been moved forward, and there's going to be people that have played it. That's what's predicated this.
I am angry, Alex Jones. I want to play as my Cloud Strife. But look,
I joke about the game. I want to play it as well. Like I think it looks cool. It plays well, so I get why you're saying that. But
look, they did do a concession for digital people, non-disc boys.
Digital people.
They moved the preload time from, what is it, usually 24 hours or 48 hours before? They've moved it to today, which is Thursday. So the day before that this podcast will actually
I feel like that's a bit muggy. Like, do people really need another week and a day to download the game and then have it sat staring at them with a countdown timer?
Yeah, that kind of goes against what I was thinking in the sense of it being...
They might do though, right? Because remember, PlayStation Store have started throttling their downloads.
That's true, yeah.
Right? And the game is, I believe, just over 100 gigabytes.
Oh, wow. So maybe they're thinking you might be downloading this for a couple of days.
Yeah.
Jeez,
so,
okay.
Yeah, so, I'll take it where I can. Like, but yeah, it's going to kill me if it's like downloads in a day and then I'm just fucking sat there.
Oh, like guaranteed.
Waiting.
Like, it will download in a day and you're going to have an icon on your fucking media bar thing, whatever they're called nowadays, with Final Fantasy VII Remake, and it'll have a padlock on it with a countdown timer. And that's a little bit painful. Especially while fucking French and Australian pricks are just playing it for fun.
Oh, wow.
Well, no, I mean, those are the two countries, I believe, that
I know what you meant.
broke the streak
This was
date.
a bit strong.
It's inevitably, I mean, the United Arab Emirates and all those places that break streak date on every fucking game in the world, of course, have done it as well. Oh, look at this. Someone in Saudi Arabia is playing it a month early. Go figure.
Okay, but look,
I wonder how much they paid for that.
But that's something that we can't play.
Swapped it for a Lamborghini.
Yeah,
that's something that we can't play at the moment. But there is something that we can play. Of when this will be dropping.
Yeah, I was going to say, not us right now.
Not us right now, because we're recording this anyway. But no, when this podcast is out, there will be something that we can play, though, right?
Yes.
Tell us, Alex Jones.
It'll be Resident Evil 3.
Remake.
Another remake. This is an interesting one because I haven't played Resi 2 yet, so we said before, like something I really want to play. But this has been
famous last words.
Yeah, I know. But I'm surprised how this seems to have missed the mark somewhat from everything that I've heard so far.
I am with you there. I'm also surprised. So some of the reviews have not been so favorable. Some of them have been fine.
Yeah.
But the game is apparently very, very short, which would suit you, Alex Jones.
It would, because I actually might be able to finish it.
Yeah, so, it's like a 6 to 9 hour experience, apparently.
Oh, dude, that sounds way more generous than I've heard. Like I've heard that most people are going to finish this game in 5 or 6 hours.
Oh wow, okay, perfect length. It's great.
Again, like Resident Evil 2 was not a long game, but Resident Evil 2 was designed to be replayed from a number of different perspectives in a way that this isn't. But yeah, like I want to say there's a built-in speedrun. I don't know if it's a trophy, an achievement, or something in the game, but like the thing you're meant to speedrun, the time you're meant to speedrun the game in for some kind of in-game recognition is 2 hours. For reference.
Oh wow,
2 hours.
Yes,
that's
like that is something that Capcom have put in. Again, I can't remember if it's a trophy or if it's like an in-game thing to get an S rank. But yes.
That seems weird though, because it's like, okay, so you've already got the engine, you've already remastered 2. Surely you just plug 3 into the same engine, and you can make. But it seems like, I don't know. Maybe they were trying to make it this length, and they thought that was fine, and they didn't think people would have an issue with it. But then people have played it, and what else have people been saying in reviews? Is there anything else they're not liking?
So one person said that it seemed like a little bit schizophrenic in that it didn't know if it wanted to be more like Resident Evil 2 Remake or if it wanted to be like Resident Evil 4.
Okay, right.
Right. Another thing that maybe people forget is the original game with the fixed camera angles and the slow movement and then stopping when you're firing. Yeah. That all slows a game down, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
And all of a sudden you're running. You don't have to worry about this camera being in a locked off position. You can, it's dynamic. It's following you. Blah blah blah.
There's a dodge.
There's a lot of kind of things helping to speed the game up anyway.
Because it's interesting. I always remember from when I was a kid playing Resi 1 and Resi 2 is that those games were slow, methodical games.
Yeah.
It wasn't a run and gun at all. It was a sort of pick your way carefully. It was spooky and scary. So I suppose that's maybe some of the issue they've had is trying to translate that to a modern format, I guess.
Which
totally,
I don't think. I think Resident Evil 5 and definitely Resident Evil 6 got a little bit more messed up with the whole run and gun thing. Yeah. I want to say, like Resident Evil 4 certainly, and from what I've seen of Resident Evil 3 Remake, I don't think it would be fair to say they've tried to go full run and gun.
Right.
Like it is still a little bit more considered, but I tend to agree with Chris in that like the maneuverability of Jill Valentine compared to like what you've had on offer in the original Resident Evil 3 has changed a lot. And in some ways, it's changed just to keep up with the times. And I don't mind that, but it just creates a different feel.
Yeah. I guess the other bit was, and Jamie, correct me if I'm wrong on this, because this was purely from what I was reading, was that the game, or at least a large portion of it, was outsourced.
That sounds plausible. I don't know either way. I'm afraid I'm not super clued up on the development of the game.
Well, the one thing I do know is that there was a company called M2, which was the support studio for the Resident Evil 3 remake. And it has been said that they are working on a big Capcom non-Resident Evil remaster. So this is the interesting kind of, hey, what's the next remake? Obviously, last week we reported on, or was it the week before? We reported on Silent Hill getting a bit of a remake and a reboot kind of thing.
That's both, wasn't it?
That's Konami, not Capcom.
Oh, shit. What am I thinking of? Yeah, of course it is. Fucking hell. What am I?
Mega Man.
No, sorry.
Street Fighter. Is that Capcom?
I've written it wrong, yeah. It is. That's meant to be Konami, not Capcom. Or is it Capcom? I don't fucking know anymore, boys. I'm going stir crazy here in my COVID castle.
Yeah, it's all fun. It's all speculation. You can speculate. Create a new rumor.
Just make your own rumor up. There's going to be a brand new Capcom game.
Well,
I don't know.
I will tell you
not
that
a remaster.
It's been, I wouldn't say confirmed, but it's been strongly implied that it is not Dino Crisis. So that much I can tell you.
Okay. I just hope it's not Resident Evil 4, because I think they can draw a line under the whole remaking Resident Evil thing.
Nah, they're gonna do a Resident Evil 4.
It doesn't need to happen.
I know it doesn't need it, but they're gonna do it because they need money. Everybody needs money.
Do you know how you make money? Well, I think we might talk about this, but like at this point, just make a new Resident Evil game.
Yes.
I know. See, I'm gonna burn both of you now though, because because you're saying this like that they should stop doing remasters and they should just make a new one. But I know the next thing we're going to talk about is something that you're both going to get super excited about, and it's pure remaster heaven.
Well,
I think this is slightly different.
No, it's not slightly different.
Oh, I think this is very slightly different.
No, because I'm not saying don't remake games in general. I'm saying Resident Evil 2 and Resident Evil 3 remake were very good. Resident Evil 4 probably doesn't need to be remade. I'd play it if they did, but it probably doesn't need it. So maybe just make another one with what you've learnt. I don't know.
See, I would move toward just stop remastering for the time being, guys. Let's just make some new games. I like that. I like that.
Maybe.
I wouldn't do that.
I think there's a place for remasters, even though maybe we are inundated with them for sure. But there are rumors of a cross-play Resident Evil game coming next year, and question marks on it being Resident Evil 8. And there've been some reports from someone in the know who has leaked some Resident Evil stuff before, saying that it's going to be a love it or hate it kind of Resident Evil that's going to be very different from what people expect. Yeah, there was a rumor, I think it was a few years ago, saying that Resident Evil was going to go more to a werewolf horror kind of thing.
What?
Yeah, it's bizarre, but
it's interesting because
any...
obviously 7 was quite a big movement from what the games originally were to doing the whole first-person shooter.
It was,
sort of
but I guess towards the end of that game, it still kind of came around to like, hey, it's a strain of a virus that's making these people into zombies.
Yeah, what's fascinating about 7 was that it looked like a far bigger departure than it actually was to play.
Yes. Sure.
Which I guess was part of its success, right?
Yeah. But a werewolf Resident Evil game, interesting.
Yeah, kind of weird. Like, I guess you could always tie it back into the T virus kind of thing, right? And say like, oh yeah, it's the W virus, and if the moon's out, it fucking boils your skin and shit. Like, okay.
I think they got to bring back Ouroboros, whatever it was called.
Ouroboros.
I think they got to bring that back. Viruses are so old. Gotta bring back
they're far too current as well at the moment. I don't think people are going to want to play a game about a virus taking over.
Capcom were working on a game that revolved around the C virus, and now they're really panicking, like, no, change it.
God, Jesus.
Yeah. Or it's going to be the opposite, right? Where like every fucking game developer and their dog are doing like, hey, guess what? It's a world ravaged by a virus that had no cure, and it,
Chris, you got Chris Redfield getting on the radio. It seems it started from Chinese people eating bats.
How come? I don't know how we can have more of that. It seems like we already have peak virus in games. Like, how are they going to have more?
There's footage of what are they called? The Chinese wet markets or something like that.
Yeah.
There's footage of Wesker walking around wet markets, like injecting bats with a serum.
Christ.
Yeah, it's like what was it, Resident Evil 5, but in China.
Oh, yeah, exactly. They've all just got really gorged eyeballs and they're going crazy.
But that'll be it though, because the Resident Evil game that comes out when they've done that is it'll be you're just at home in quarantine, and it'll be more like Animal Crossing, but you've just got to go into your kitchen and like chop down something and go into dig a hole. And...
People do like the fact that Resident Evil and part of Resident Evil 7 are set inside a mansion, so maybe there's some weird like lockdown quarantine thing. Can't leave the mansion, but there are zombies.
Maybe. Oh man. Okay, but yeah, Jonesy, you alluded to the next bit, which is just gonna come out and say it. Maybe the best news that's ever happened in the history of gaming.
What that is strong praise.
I mean, I'm not trying to overplay it or anything, but there have been confirmed rumors, whatever the fuck that would mean. But confirmed rumors that there were multiple Mario remasters incoming for the Switch. I'm talking, boys, Super Mario Galaxy, Super Mario 64, and Super Mario Sunshine.
Hell yeah.
Remasters.
3 of the best games of all time coming together, theoretically, to form one brand spanking new package. I'm with Chris that this is one of the most exciting news pieces of rumors, whatever you want to call it, in recent memory. This is significant.
This is big.
Significant.
Could I say that I am really excited for you guys? Personally, I don't think I could care any less.
Well, yeah, because you'd never finished a Mario game in your life.
I have finished Mario games, but they're all the early ones that came out when I was a kid. So, like, the very early ones.
Come on, you finished Odyssey though, right?
I finished Odyssey, yeah, for sure. Yeah. But 64 I didn't play. Mario Galaxy I didn't play. Sunshine I didn't play. So no, dude, I didn't finish these. I didn't even touch them. So there you go.
Listen, I hope that I'm glad they're doing Super Mario Galaxy, but if they do Super Mario Galaxy 2, boys, I can't explain to you. It's like one of my all-time favorite games.
Surely this is, I suppose, it could be seen as like a bit of a test for them as well, because if these games do really well, which they will, why would they stop? Like, why would they not carry on, right?
I mean, you look at sort of the different directions in which this rumor goes, them talking about putting a lot of the other classic Marios on the Nintendo Switch Online service, the ones that haven't come out yet. This is pushing them closer and closer towards a position where the vast majority of Mario games are represented on the Switch, and I think stopping short of one or two, especially when they are some of the more critically acclaimed and beloved by fans, such as Super Mario Galaxy 2, I can see them coming around to it eventually. But, there are rumors that, is it Super Mario World 3D or one of those? I can't remember. One of the ones that came out on the Wii U, so it was slightly less played, is coming out. Yeah, exactly. That's coming out as kind of a deluxe edition, like we saw with the new Super Mario Bros. Stuff last year. So
that makes sense, right? Because you don't necessarily need to remaster that game.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
So maybe Galaxy 2 gets its own treatment at some point if it's not included in this collection, which doesn't sound like it is.
Right. Yeah. I think, and it is exciting. It is exciting. Just I'm not going to be playing it. That's what That's how
Alex Jones,
I'll frame it.
Son, I am excited. This is honestly, it's so good. Like, just to be able to play the same fucking Super Mario Galaxy, I can't wait. That was such an inventive, enjoyable piece of gaming history, and I can't wait.
Cool.
There we go. Some other Mario stuff that people may care about, which is a new Paper Mario game has been confirmed, and it's rumored to be following the N64 GameCube style of games, not like the 3DS games that they came out with.
Confirmed in the same way all of this is confirmed, which is confirmed by journalists.
Yeah, confirmed rumors, I like to call it.
Confirmed rumors.
It's like someone in the know heard that rumor and say, yeah, that's a rumor.
Yep.
I've heard the rumor too. It's like
I've heard that rumor. Yeah. That's literally how this story happened.
Someone reported this. If any of these come out and turn out to not be true, we'll have you two weeping on a podcast going, the journos were wrong because they were just sat at home in their bedrooms, like video conferencing each other.
Yeah,
on
I just
Zoom.
want my Super Mario Galaxy. Like, don't fuck with me.
Yeah, don't mess with it.
Right, okay, so we're coming to the end of our podcast. Let's just very quickly talk about our last piece of news, which I don't think any of you guys are going to be all that interested in it, to be fair.
No.
Could have stopped on a high note, but no. We'll crack on.
But we're ending on it because it is a pretty fucking huge deal. And that is Mountain Blade 2 Bannerlord has come out in a surprise early access on Steam. So the last game that came out was Mountain Blade Warband, which was almost like a standalone expansion, if you will. And that came out in 2010. So it's been 10 years.
10 years. Long time.
Yeah, pretty mad. So the game is dropped on early access. It is reviewing through the roof, and it is the biggest selling game on Steam so far for 2020.
Wow.
Which is saying a lot, because Steam's had a fucking monumental year this year.
Yeah.
Because everyone's at home, so it makes sense. Yeah, you guys going to pick it up? You going to play it? Interested? Excited?
It's not my kind of thing. Like, I admire the kind of the blend of genres that it tries to go for, and that it's kind of, I guess, for the fans, doing justice to that sort of weird, like, medieval style game that we don't actually see an awful lot of in the grand scheme of things, because most things are on the side of fantasy nowadays. Yeah. But it's just not for me.
No, I'm the same as Jamie.
Well, it may surprise you guys to hear that I'm in the same camp as you. It's probably not for me.
Okay.
No, that doesn't
the only thing that
surprise me.
interests me is it seems that they've got an online mode which very much mimics Mordhau, or rather Mordhau mimicked
right.
Mountain Blade, which came first, chicken and egg. But yeah, I fucking love Mordhau. And last I heard about Mordhau was overrun with racists. So
like every good online game eventually succumbs.
Yeah.
To the hordes.
So yeah,
of
I mean,
racists.
I would be interested in that mode, but I mean, I've got Mordhau. I'd just play Mordhau if I wanted that kind of thing. I know there's going to be an unpopular opinion with some of our listeners, some of our fans. Not to say that it's a bad game at all. Just not our cup of tea.
I don't know. I think Mordhau looks better, and I think Mordhau's approach to kind of combat in the moment is better. I just think Mount and Blade offers people something different in that it does have that kind of overarching tactical feel, and it has the moment-to-moment gameplay and the combat. So I think that's what people go to. I assume that's what people go to it for, but yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
I think I'd rather play a very good tactical game or a very good combat game rather than this sort of like janky looking thing that combines both. Although now that I've used the word janky, people are probably going to be angry. I'm sorry, Matt Towie. Get over it.
Janky Jamie.
Yeah.
There we go. I think you've just given us the code word for today's episode.
Yes,
Janky Jamie.
Wow. I'm looking forward to seeing that 4 times in the comments. Cheers, lads. Right.
Anything else you guys want to talk about before we wrap this puppy up?
No, dude. I think I'm good.
I just want to give a quick shout out to sleep.
Go get some, mate.
I apologise that I ever took it for granted. I can't yet. I can't. I've got shit to do.
More pipeline punch then and crack on.
No, I don't. I'm not allowed any more energy drinks now.
You've had your fill, yeah? Your quota.
I've had one, and if I have more, things could start to go wrong, and I don't want them to. So let's leave it at that.
I'd love it if there was like we're watching BBC News and there's just a footage of Jamie like running down the street naked, just fucking holding 2 monster cans, like chugging.
I thought that was about to go a completely different direction. Like I thought you were about to make a coronavirus joke, and like, did he have any underlying health issues? Like, well, technically no, but he did drink an unsightly amount of Monster, and we do believe that to be a cause of the complication.
Yeah, fair enough. All right, guys. Fun. With that, thank you so much for listening. If you're listening on a podcast platform of your choice, do give us a 5-star rating if you're on iTunes. That always goes a long way. And hey, leave a little bit of a review and maybe we'll read it out in the next episode. If you're watching on YouTube, thank you. And apologies in advance for our faces. But don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. And hey, vote for your comment of the week. And with that, we'll see you next time.
Bye.